What is up, guys? Welcome back. Hello. Whoops. Wrong title bars. Sorry. There we go. Hey, how are you guys doing? Welcome, welcome, welcome. Please let me know if the music's still loud. If it's too loud, I just lower it a little bit. Yeah, some technical difficulties here. For some reason, my camera reset. There we go. Hello. Welcome, guys. This week, as you probably heard, I'm streaming on my own channel, because if you haven't seen ZBrush Live, I did last week, I did stream, but for ZBrush Live, and I'm gonna start streaming every 2 weeks on this channel. But if you wanna follow my more ZBrush centered streams, that's all gonna be on ZBrush Live from now on. So be sure to check them out and give it a follow if you're not subscribed to the ZBrush YouTube channel or Twitch. Please do, because they have amazing artists going every week streaming there. Their ZBrush work and workflows, and they're pretty chill streams as well. So yeah, those are good. It's suggested if you're on Twitch, it's suggested under my channels page. So the suggested channels. Okay. So today we're gonna do some Unreal shenanigans and possibly a little bit of ZBrush yet, because if you've watched my previous stream, I was basically doing a fairly simple sketch. That was this one in ZBrush, and this is just a decimated version of that mesh, which is pretty dirty, as you can see. Like, all the triangles are really, really dirty and all that. Doesn't really matter. All I wanted is to get like at least a first pass on the lighting, and also just the overall look and mood of the scene. As per our last couple of streams before I went to ZBrush Live, I was building the second environment for the Diablo scene, as you might know. I stopped that because I can't do like 3 types of streams a week. I'm sorry, guys, I have to work and I need to have a life. so no way I can do that. But we stopped that, or put that on hold for now, and we're gonna go over smaller, in terms of scope, smaller scaled environments. So in this case, I wanted to get in like just a very basic sort of lighting scenario, and I'm just checking this sub level here. Yeah, this doesn't need to be here. Let me remove this. Yes, there we go. And this height fog is not doing anything. Right, so we're gonna do some cool shenanigans here. You can start to see how I basically did the Diablo thing. This is too high, and the sky atmosphere, just a tad there. I'm just trying to check if it's doing it properly. This is like based on height. We could have like a just a simple light background there. But in this case, I want try to do this. You can't do that. Okay. Okay. Let's just do this a little differently. Just to fall off. Okay, so as you can see, this is going to be a pretty chill stream. I'm just testing out stuff with the exponential height fog. And I'm going to create the base of the textures as well. So there we go. I'm going to start maybe a little so we can go close and not have that effect. Those glitches there, that's the lumen thing that we need to tweak as well. Scattering distribution, extend scale, start distance, fade distance. Everything seems about right. There we go. Let's put this back at 0. And this too. Like, I don't care. So let's just block this out real quick. Just like a very quick and dirty sort of block out on this whole thing. This is probably not even gonna be the final one, because I had the idea of having it more straight, like a straighter-ish kind of rock. So let's just but you can see how this sort of like flow. The fact that in ZBrush I try to do this sort of spiraling flow works quite nicely, because it blends nicely with the flow terrain. Like it looks like it doesn't look like it's 3 separate meshes, right? And they don't look like they're repeating, and that's because of the rhythms. And you can even see like the brush strokes here. This is a very dirty sort of block out. This exponential height fog color is throwing me off. Let me just maybe something like that. And maybe something. There we go. Maybe this is too bright now. Oh, the camera's out of exposure. Dang it. Yeah, it has auto exposure, which I need to turn off, but I'm not focused on that at the moment. So might as well try to go for something with more readability here. So as you can see, this is pretty small for what we want. So I'm just gonna bring in some shapes here, maybe a cylinder here. And just push it out like that. Am I in the correct level? Yes. And maybe another shape here. I want something that's straighter, so like a cube. So I want this architectural elements here. So I might just bring in like a little corner. Like that. Now I want a wall. Maybe not like that, but we're pretty close. Smaller, maybe? Yes. Doesn't matter if it's clean or not. In this stage, I'm still pretty dirty. So I want to push this down, actually. And push this up. Oh, it's something like that, but now everything looks small. Which is a problem. So let's get rid of this, and this should be bigger, like so. More like this. Again, this ain't final, so it's fine. Let's try to bring this up here. Also, this should be there. I'm gonna have a separate floor anyway, but still. There we go. Looking at the concept. Give me a sec. I figured this wasn't working. Sorry, guys. There we go. Much better. Okay, so in the concept in ZBrush, I had like 2 pillars there. I just feel that looks too similar to what I had before in the Diablo thing. So I might as well just do, because I have a little bit of a work in progress going on my Heart Bible, which is something that I don't advise you guys to postpone. I've just been super busy with work, so I can't really, you know, spend a lot of time doing the research the way I used to for my personal projects. So what I'm thinking is something along like these lines. I possibly have like, instead of like spiky shapes going around here like I had in the Diablo thing, like going out, I'm gonna go in. So instead of spiky shapes, I'm gonna have a flatter sort of environment. So in this case, it would be more something like this. So get a cube, and let me just, I should do this in ZBrush actually. This part here, like creating an actual mesh This would be something like that. Now out. Should be more like this, so I'm gonna create a group, and this is gonna be sort of poking through that mesh, but bigger. Ah, dang it. I can't, because it's freaking... Need to lock it. Yeah, it doesn't work. Group. I need a prefab for this. Doesn't matter. This is supposed to be a block out, so who cares, right? So let's say I have more of a straighter-ish kind of rock formation. Something like that. This is one of the things that I want to emphasize, that I almost never work, let's say, in a white box manner. That's because I'm an artist. I'm not a level designer. So when I'm doing the white box, I'm doing it with at least like a very basic notion of the lighting, because that way it's easier to just replace the meshes and kind of have a feel for what it looks like. So imagine like a straighter-ish kind of rock formation here, and that's what you'll get eventually. Just do this sort of like that. You can see what I mean when I say I want a blockier sort of shape in this case. So going over here, gonna rotate this around, and possibly this won't even be like that. It'll be more like this. So it's actually gonna be a blockier shape, like an actual like rectangular shape. You see this? This is the thing that I want to avoid, like this flow, this curve. That feels very, very similar to what I had for the Diablo scene. So this I want to avoid. I want to have something like that, right? So it has more of a very distinct sort of zigzaggy, like 90-degree shape. And you can see that this rock that I built is basically not gonna be there. It is, but it's gonna be clipped through multiple other meshes, and then we're gonna have like some mesh dithering possibly. And one other thing that I want to do is I want to think if I want to have any sort of effects on the scene. And if I do, I might as well just start thinking about that immediately. Like if I'm going to have fire or maybe water or maybe atmospheric effects. And possibly, yes, I might do that because I didn't in the Diablo one. And that's because I didn't know how to do it. To be honest, I was not very proficient with effects like shader effects and all of that. And now I am. So I am gonna do possibly maybe the crystals surrounding the sword and all of that. So the basic notion is there for the rocks, right? We got the basic silhouette as well. This could be probably going in a little bit more. And possibly, because it still looks... Let me try to push this out like that. Maybe, what if I put this like here? Like in the concept. Does this work better? Maybe not. Maybe something like that. Because I want to have some sort of like staircase going up, right? So I might as well. Just go something like that, right? It's blocky, but you know it is supposed to be. It's gonna go over and be changed all throughout the entire process, so this needs to be bigger actually, so a little bit bigger, and possibly that means that this is gonna be bigger. I'm clicking here. And clicking here and deselecting and moving stuff. Basically, that's the gist of it. It's just moving stuff around until you get the feel that you're going for. And this should already be like a modular piece, like with the correct snapping and proportions and all that. Those little blocks there. But I mean, it's just a block code, so who freaking cares? Let's scale this down like that. Right, and one cool thing that I might add is some sort of, because I want the emphasis to be on the sword, right? I don't want this to be like cluttered with a lot of, you know, shenanigans and effects and architecture and all that. So I want like simple rocks here. Maybe this pillar could be a little bit more you know, flamboyant than the rest of the bricks and cobblestone and all that, but I still want to emphasize that the centerpiece is the sword, right? So the altar itself is going to be the hero prop, and then the sword, of course, but the sword, you could consider it a part of the altar, right? Let's see. Let's move this entire thing. Like there. There's gonna be some cobblestone here going into like some grass, possibly like some foliage here. And then there's like the rocks that are like on the side cliffs, right? So, there we go. I just need this here at all times so I know like what's the actual proportion of a human. Now, this is sort of the proportion of a human being, of a player, but it's not necessarily the exact proportions. Hey, how's it going? Okay, So pushing this out like that. Still thinking about what else can I add here. Okay, there's gonna be some stairs there, so I might as well just bring in a cube. Oops, wrong. Well, no. What? Why is it not allowing me? Ah, there you go. So let's say this case, that's something like this, right? Whoops. Now I'm gonna group this just in case. I don't know. Might need to make it longer though. This could be like stone carved stairs just going down into like nothingness, right? Because it is still gonna be like an environment, a diorama, I'm sorry. So that could work. Something like that, and then goes into like oblivion. So something like this, this, and this. There we go. So you have something like this, and then this could go a little bit lower. And these could be made of rocks and stones and whatnot. And we could even have like one of these sort of like poking through. Again, this is just the white boxing if you're just joining us. So there's no, it's not supposed to be perfect. So more along these lines is like that. So it's supposed to be going at an angle slightly. Wow, that's too much. So you'd have something like this, and then you go out into, like this again is still like the sculpt, right? So let me just check something here. No auto exposure. Sorry, but I hate that. Manual exposure. There we go. Much better. Okay. Sorry about that. That was like completely blown out, the lighting. And that's because of the exposure. So I'm gonna go to our lighting here. The cool thing about working with sub-levels is that you can actually, you know, just work on the lighting separately. Like the object's still there if you go to unlit mode. It's still there. It's just that the lighting doesn't affect it because you turned it off. Basically, you can turn off the lights. So if I were to have like some sort of effects going down, I don't know, like lava or whatever, the idea is that you could, because I have the platform for it, let's say. That means that since the base of this whole thing is like the base of this is like there's like platforms to it, it's better to plan ahead, right? So you need to understand, okay, I am gonna possibly have some effects. I don't know if I am or not, but I possibly will. And if you do, then it's a good idea to not make the block out set in stone, let's say, and no pun intended on that one. But you should have a fair notion of where this is going, but still remain open to add anything else that you feel like you might need further down the line. So yeah. So the cool thing here is that since you're doing this with very simple shapes, you don't need to commit and overly commit to modeling one thing. Like, I don't know exactly what sort of shape do I want for that, even in ZBrush, and what works together with the rest of the assets, because that's the tricky part about environment art. Because when you're doing a character, let's say, and you're modeling like a shoulder pad, you're already modeling it in the character, right? There's not a lot of context that goes outside of what the character looks like. So if you're modeling the character and then you're adding a shoulder pad, the only context you need is that character and the rest of the clothing, which is all there, right? But in environment art, you need to have the context of the entire scene, and that means every single other object placed in position will affect how the models look in it of themselves, right? And that's a tricky thing, because you need to sort of think ahead, but at the same time you can't get ahead of yourself. So let's just keep this fairly simple. I don't want to make it too big, because I know my tendency is to make it too big and just scale it up in terms of like maybe another platform here with, I don't know, some trees or whatever, and then all of a sudden I'm making a freaking like landscape. So I need to keep this simple. It's just gonna be like the stairs here coming into the altar, and this doesn't feel right. This should be like there. So the stairs coming into the altar, and possibly maybe some architectural pieces that sort of emphasize that altar, but not necessarily. And this doesn't need to be perfect at the moment. So this could go like there. This could go there. Okay, and now let me just clip this freaking rock in. And I mean, technically I could use a decimated mesh, and I know what you guys are gonna say. I'm gonna use nanite for like the rocks. I could. It's a small project, so it's not like it's gonna be an actual game, right? So there's no optimization to take into account. But I want to make this as optimized as I can. So if I'm gonna do some nanite stuff, I might as well just do it on a centerpiece or something like that, and not on the rocks and everything else. I want everything to be game ready in terms of like modularity. So anything that's gonna be repeated is not nanite, not at all. Because I'm very sorry to be the breaker of bad news, but nanite is not gonna be used to the same extent in games as it is going to be used in film or animation, because there's performance concerns, right, when it comes to games. And games have a very particular problem, which is the file size as well, because people don't want to download, I don't know, like 500 gigs worth of the game just because of a few nanite meshes. So I'm gonna clip this here. I'm gonna make this maybe something like that. Whoops, my bad. Let me rotate this around, maybe create some breakup variation there. This is supposed to be like a more faceted clip. So, yeah, seems about right. Some decals there as well. So, let me just start off by creating a little bit of a material, like our master material, just to show you guys something about the pipe. So props, I'm gonna call it props, even though it's not just props, but it's gonna be the very foundation of our materials. And what I usually do is I put a lot of controls into functions. So I'm gonna create a material function here. I want to have the ability to control the hue, shift, the saturation, the contrast, etc., and not have to build that node system every time I want to use those. So I'm gonna call this mf underscore color controls. I always do this. It's people that have worked with me know this. I am a big fan of using functions. So mf underscore roughness. And this would make sense when we have like an actual model with textures and all that to preview. But you could create the basic system, and then once we finish with our sculpt in ZBrush, we can actually go in and test this out with the textures and all that. So that might be what we do in this case. So roughness controls, let me call it controls, and normal maps as well. Normal maps are easy to control. I just want an intensity thing. So mf normal controls, and I want the ambient occlusion, which is also fairly easy. Material function mf, we could tweak this and add features later down the line. So AO controls, there we go. And color controls, I want to be able to input, and this is where we plug in our texture. So we plug this in, let's call this texture or base color. Whoops. And let me just put this on the side so we could sort of grasp our scene while I'm building this. I love me some nodes. There we go, so you guys can actually see what's going on here. And I'm gonna call this sort priority 0. Yeah, this is the first one. And the first thing we want to do is we're going to use another function, which is the actual, there's hue shift. And this is a percentage. So this means that it goes from 0 to 1 in percentage. So we want to actually from 0 to 100. I'm not really sure though. Let me see. So rotation angle, position, no, I think it's 0 to 1. Yeah, it's 0 to 1. If we want to make this not go from 0 to 1, there's a trick. So we need to do some math here. And we need to, from 0 to 1, we want from 0 to 255, right? So from 0 to 1 is 100%, so 255. We want to divide this, basically. But for now, let's just, well, this should be here. And now we're going to do input. For now, let's just leave it. We're going to test that out on the, when we have a texture, so we can actually see what's going on. And now we're going to call it U shift. And these are all inputs, so basically they're exposed parameters. If you're familiar with Substance Designer, devlog. This is UE5, but it's mostly the same. So from 0 to 1, 0 to 10, I would say it depends on how deep you want to go. Like if you just want to build simple environments, it has a little bit of a easy learning curve compared to other software. But if you want to go really deep, if you want to do like, you know, crazy effects, and if you want to do whatever, depends on what you want to do, right? If you're just doing this like I'm doing, it's fairly easy. There's a fairly easy learning curve. That's not to say that it doesn't take time to get to grips with it, you know. So I mean, it is, I would say, in my opinion, that's my opinion, don't take that home, don't take that for granted, but my opinion is that Unreal Engine is the most user-friendly engine out there. I've tried Unity before I got into Unreal at the time, but things change, I know, but that was a long time ago. But I would say Unreal is much more user-friendly. So, is this a devlog? What do you mean by devlog? You mean like, am I developing a game? No, I'm not. I'm making environments, game environments, but environments, just the environment, not an actual game. So I hope that was useful. I mean, it's not much I can tell you. It's just, if it's harder than what? Like, is it harder than I don't know, like Maya, Blender? Yeah, it could be, but it could also be easier. Like, for you to create something out of the bat in Maya, like in any DCC app, it takes more time training and tutorials and etc. than it would Unreal. Because Unreal, you can reuse a lot of content that's already there, and especially now that you have like mega scans and all that, you can easily, if you understand how the engine works, and that's a fairly smooth learning curve, you can actually start creating your own scenes with mega scans and all that with no limitation. You know what I mean? I just don't do that. I do my own, you know, because I'm a environment artist, so that's my job to actually build the models and all that. So multiply, let me see if I remember right. So multiply is gonna multiply over. So this is gonna be brightness. And saturation, we're gonna do a desaturation. And I'm gonna call this saturation. And we're gonna do a 1 minus here. So we wanna invert this. And default here should be 1, okay. want to do something like this. And saturation, there's contrast, so power. And there was something else I'm missing. What am I missing here? Oh, that was a tint, right? Tint. So, and then this goes in. Maybe I'll add the tint right after the base color. Yeah. So I'm gonna multiply this by another one. This should be a vector 3 tint. There we go. Let me reset all this. I just want to keep it tidy because I know this could get crazy. This can go really quite crazy, really fast in terms of like spaghetti, right? And now this goes here. There it is. This is our first function. One other thing is I want to expose this to library. That way in my main props material, I can just come over here now, MF, color, oh wait, I have to save it. Like expose, save it, and then go MF underscore color, and there it is, color controls. And this is the function. If I double click this, it opens up my function. So there's U shift, base color, ooh, okay. So I forgot to, this is 0, this is 1, this is, actually this is 1, this is 2, this is 3, this is basically the order in which they appear when exposed. So there we go. And as you can see now it's ordered properly. And the same thing goes for, again, I'm just gonna go quickly through this because this is, again, like input, vector 3, let's call this roughness map. And this is gonna be, there's gonna be a lerp here. And it's gonna lerp between two scalar parameters. I'm gonna call this max and min. Max and min. And there we go. This one's easy. I'd say the trickier one is actually this one. The rest is fairly easy. It's just for me not to repeat that whole thing, like just lerping everything every time I want to tweak some roughness or whatever in this the main node system, because I want to make this clean. Because you have no clue like how complex this could get, especially with me, because I'm a little messy. So AO is basically an input with a power node. So AO map, and this, actually this is a grayscale, right? This is scalar. I think that was a mistake there with the roughness thing. And this is supposed to be contrast. I could actually multiply as well. Maybe I want a... I'm gonna tweak that later. Let's see. Right, and normal, it's the same thing. In this case, it is an RGB, so vector 3, and there's normal map. And now I want to component mask. I want to mask this, and I want to mask it again. I want to mask the blue channel. And this is what I want to flatten, right? So I want to multiply. Oh, Jesus. Multiply. Let me just preview this. I'm gonna bring in a texture, underscore N, bring in a normal map here, any normal map, right? And now let's start previewing this node. If I multiply by 0, there's 0. And now I wanna append vector. I wanna append this one to this one. And this is what I wanna preview. All right. Yeah, but the blue channel should be. No, it's this one. I want to keep the blue channel. Whoops. Might need to check how I did that. I completely forgot. How did I forget this? Doesn't matter though. So I want to lerp between this and 0, right? No, actually there's a flatten normal. And this is what it does. Oh, right, of course. Oh, Jesus. How could I be so stupid? That's so stupid, of course. So I want to lerp. Jesus, sometimes I even amaze myself. I want to lerp between this and a flat blue color. So I want blue at 100%. And this doesn't need to be there. This just appends there. And this gets appended there. It gets appended there. And now another input. This input is a scalar. It's gonna be normal intensity. If it's 0, it should be working. There you go. Actually, do I want this though? Why is it not working? It's not showing me anything. Let's try this out though. Because this is how he does it. Like whoever made this. Slurping between the blue and the normal. And that's how it should work. And maybe it's this. Yeah, let's try it. This could be 1. There we go. Yeah, it's kind of working there. It is working. Let's try it with a normal map. So I don't know why. I must be tired or something. I've done this 1,000 times. Jesus. So let's imagine then that we have this. Let's expose this to library. mf underscore normal controls. Normal map. And let's bring a scalar. Doesn't matter what it is. And I want to bring this in. Just create a basic color. Okay. It's the other way around. Because this is flattening. So it's like there's a normal map and then it lerps to 0 on everything else. So yeah, this is what should be lerped, not this. There we go. Now it's fixed. So if now I take 0, there it is. Well, flat-ish. That's because this normal map might not be... No, it is. Okay. Fair enough. So if I take this out... Ah, okay, I see. This normal map doesn't have a blue channel for some reason. How does that work? There's no blue channel there. The blue channel is a mask. Okay, but I might need to change this normal map. It needs to be something. Default normal. Yeah, now much better. So it's 0, and when it's 1, there's your normals. Right there. 0, no normals. There we go. Much better. So now save all. Yes. There you go. This is the persistent level, so I might as well I'm gonna call this what happened to my lighting? Where's my freaking skylight? There it is. Oh, there's something wrong here. Definitely something wrong here. I don't know what's going on here. Why the purple thing went away. What? Let me put this back at default. There's something weird happening with my lighting. I have no clue what it is. The height fog seems fine. Yeah, this isn't even affecting the thing. It's not that. For some reason, it wasn't working before as well, but then it started working again. No. No, the cube map, it's not cube map. Yes, whatever. Not volumetric clouds. I want a sky atmosphere. There we go. Yeah, this is the absorption sort of rate. Yeah, the skylight should be working. It isn't for some reason. Let me bring in another one. Let's see what's happening. Turn this one off. Nope. Oh, okay. Now it's working a little better. It wasn't for some reason. So now if I bring this up, there we go. Why is it still blue though? Fuck's sake. It shouldn't be blue. It should be this color. Nah, there's definitely something wrong with my skylight. See? Shouldn't. No, it's not even affecting the. There we go. Now it's working. But it's working because I turned on the atmosphere. Okay, now we're getting somewhere. Now this light should be a tad saturated and a little bit towards maybe the greenish turquoise. Now it's blue again. There we go. Let's do it the other way around. Let's make the shadows cool. Like that. And make the light warm. That might look nice. There we go. So maybe we oughta reverse this. So I want to copy this. And I want to make this that tone. And I want the skylight to have this tone. Skylight doesn't really work with warm tones for some reason. It does, but I know what's happening. It's sort of making it a natural light. You know what I mean? Because it's a complementary light. So that's color theory. So it's like you're complementing the light source. So that means you're getting a very neutral, sort of balanced, even lights. Lighting needs to be built. No, it doesn't. Shut up. I want movable lights everywhere. This is movable. Everything's movable. Why do you need to build the lights then? Maybe this shouldn't be here. Well, what we could do is actually have a second directional light that's facing the opposite way and not cast shadows and be a very dull light, so like 0.2. And this, because we are doing floating islands, come on, that's not realistic. And I want this to be warm, so I want this to be like crazy orangish. I want something like that. And maybe, can I make it super red? Yes. So I know that red is never going to go away, but I could make it less obvious. Let me click cast shadows just for a sec. Okay, so it's going that way. There we go. Okay. It's like traditional painting. You sort of have to think of like the complementary lights and all of that. So let's just go over here and make it like 1. All right. Less. And this 0.5, 0.2, and push it up. Let's push it all the way up. then let's okay, max is that. Second fog data. Yeah, that's the fog right there and what it's affecting. Start distance, start cutoff distance. Yeah, so it cuts off. And now I want this to be back at 1. It's only affecting that because it's cutting off from the background. That's cool because that's what I want to see. I want to see where that starts fading. And let's create a bookmark for a camera. So the camera, it should be something like this, right? So coming over here, bookmarks, set bookmark 0. So now if I want to go back to that view, let me create another bookmark here. Bookmark 1. So control 0. It's not working. Oh, it's just 0. Control 0. It's oh fuck, I fucked it over. So let's say it's this. Control 0. So now 0 1 0 1. It could actually be control. This could be control 2. And this could be control 1. So now it's 1 2 1 2 1 2. Right. Okay. And now the height fog cut distance. Let's go back to. Aha. I think it's lumen that's compensating for that. Because it's in the void, so there's no reflections. Yeah, it's green tint. Turn that off. That makes sense because it's blending with the other color, which is blue. Blue and yellow makes green, right? If you make it red, then you need to bump up this intensity a lot because red is not as strong a color. But I don't want pure red, but I want something that's like, I don't know, like purplish. I want something that's warm, but like purplish warm. For now. I don't know if this works, really. We're only gonna see that once we get the actual models there, like the sword and all of that. So this, let me just tweak this again. No. Actually, no. I want this to be like that. And I want some rocks here scattered around. And this too. The sword's gonna be there, and this. And this. Just building out. Very basic block out. Maybe a little taller. Something like that. It just feels off. It's not at the center. And I'm a little OCD with that, so let me go back to our initial camera. Yep, something like that. Because we can still build off of this. And we can make this. Something like that. And this goes in. This also goes in. Nope, this should be there. This is the one that needs to be scaled. And this one needs to move like there. See that? It's much better. It's a lot more symmetrical, going over. I don't know, like this is the thing, like that's one of the things I do all the time is that I use the meshes. I use Unreal to sculpt the terrain, so I'm using this to sort of go through and see what works, so visually speaking. Because again, I don't want to commit too much to the sculpts and the details of especially the rocks when I don't have a clear vision of what the environment's gonna look like. This is much more balanced, and this, if this becomes too noisy, it's right next to the sword. We could actually offset it a little bit because the sword then will be, you know, maybe too much in line with the pillar. So might as well just push this a little back like that, and that's enough. And now you get all of this, and we could have some cool like cobblestone coming off here into the stairs and then into like Oblivion. We could have some floating stairs as well over here. That's another idea with some cool effects underneath it. That might give us an opportunity to go over how to make mesh effects, shader effects, Niagara particles as well. So again, hence why I ditched the other environment that we were doing, and that's because it was just too big to actually go through all of those things. So yeah, so this is it in terms of right now where we stand in terms of the block count. And now I'm gonna move a little bit further into the details, the details, the materials. Sorry. Should feel like a chunk, like blocky chunk, right? Number one, number two. I don't really like this camera angle, actually. There we go. There we go. Save this. Right, so now that we have a fair understanding of how this normal map kind of works, I want to create this in a way and convert this to a parameter. Call this normal map. Same thing goes for a texture parameter. That's going to be the ARM. I always call them ARM. And another one that's going to be called base color. There we go. And now we have our MF color controls. Oops. That's it. Actually, it was here. So base color goes here. Then there's like MF roughness. The roughness, I haven't exposed this. Exposed to library. Exposed to library. And there we go. And now MF underscore roughness. Huh. Did it not save? There it is. Okay. So roughness is going to be the green channel. That's always what I do. So promote this to parameter. I'm going to call this roughness max, and it's going to be a default of 1. Control C, Control V. I'm going to call this min. There we go. This is our ARM basic, and the same thing goes for this MF underscore AO controls, AO map, and this gets promoted to parameter. AO contrast starts at 1, and there we go. So one of the things that I do to clean this up right off the bat is bring that here, bring this here, and bring this here, and work with name and reroutes. So this is going to be, I'm going to call this roughness. And the same thing goes for this. AO. Same thing goes for this. Color, make this red. I always make this one red. And this one normal. And now what I do is this. There it is. Instead of plugging in all those crazy, you know, tax. So one of the other things I do to add some variation to this, I'm gonna start the default should be some sort of like rock texture, whatever, just to test. So diffuse there, same thing goes for this one, and same thing goes for this one, but it's not going to be the D, it's going to be the normal. And this is going to be a masks, it's going to be linear color, actually, not masks, linear color, 0 to 1. And this should be the metal. There we go. Gonna just separate this neatly. Color normal, should be blue. RGB, right? Right, this is the base color, which should also be a parameter, just in case. This could be the tint. And let's just test it out. I'm gonna call this color. There's some errors there because there's nothing plugged in here. So might as well just create this. Promote to parameter. And keep it tidy. There we go. Color one is going to be the biggest. There we go. And now we can do a switch parameter. Let's call it texture. Oh, flat color. If true, then this. If false, then this. And let's go. And by default, it's going to be false. There we go, and this goes over here, and this goes over here, and this over here, just to keep it tidy. And for now, I think that's it. Oh, and the brightness should be default 1 for everything except the U shift. 1, 1, 1. There we go. This is the tint. Right, so it's multiplying on top of that. There we go. And now the here should be normal intensity, and it should be at 1. There we go. And let's plug in the AO just in case. Ambient occlusion. Giving me an error. There's no value on this texture. Yeah, it's gonna be linear after the fact because the texture itself needs to be encoded as, where is it? Grayscale? Not grayscale, but it should be. No, where is it? God damn it. Masks. There it is. No sRGB. So it shouldn't be sRGB. So either turn this off or switch this to masks. But if you switch it to masks, it's going to be a mask here. It's not going to be linear color. It's going to be black or white. So that's not something you want in terms of compression. So, but in this case, it works for now. Guess we're not actually tweaking. No, roughness, actually. Roughness goes there. You can see already it's looking way better. That material right there, material orb. And we should have some specular. And we're gonna start it off at 0.3. Default is 0.5. And we're gonna go get the metal, metallic. And for now, I think that's it. Let's just start off. And test this out. I mean, there's no UVs here, keep that in mind. So one thing we could do just to test it out is to, instead of having like a tiling control, I'm gonna create sorry, so UVs or oh, why is it so slow all of a sudden? And now multiply by this. Oh, whoops. I'm gonna call this tiling. And we're gonna have a separate reroute here. Call it UVs. This is just to keep it clean, right? No huge like node things. Instead of having wires going all around, we can just have this tiling thing here. And there we go. Now let's test it out. Wait, let me select it. Content browser. Yeah, no UVs, as you can see. You can't really test it out with the UV coordinates, but it's fine. I mean, we're still doing the block out. So there's no need for us to go crazy. Go. I think we're almost there, just to get a sense of the first pass on the environment. I Might as well just take a screenshot. Just so we get this. And the little human guy here could be like that. Actually, this is gonna get a little higher. Something like that. There's a gaping hole there. Let's imagine this isn't there. This little gap here. Or we could scale this. Does it really matter? This is just a block out. So we could actually scale this. And delete that. Now we got our little thingamajig. There we go. So we have our first pass. This is good enough for a first pass block out. Again, this is gonna be changed. Definitely changed. So we want to keep that in mind for the rest of the environment. And I don't know if we still have time. I mean, I have to leave in like 30 minutes, but we made the basic system for the props material. We made the functions, all the functions here for the normals, etc. And we did a first pass on the lighting and a first pass on the block out, which is still going to be developed. I'm pretty sure that it will. Might as well just do a quick block out of this as well, and ZBrush just to put it there. So let me try that real quick. So I'm gonna shift us to here. Oopsies, there's still the ZBrush Live one there. Let me save the Unreal thing first. And let me set the project to start. So maps and modes, and let's call this sword level. Sword level. There we go. Save again, and there we go. Okay, so we left this off on ZBrush Live like this. And one of the things that I'm gonna do now is change this little section here, which doesn't make any sense anymore. Just go over here, because I wasn't on my tablet. Okay, so, whoops. I'm gonna bring this over here, and I'm gonna start. Actually, I'm gonna change this to the cube thingy. I want this to make sense in relation to the dude here, not the overall environment, because I know this isn't the correct scale. So all I want right now is to have a fair notion of what's my texel density, and I know that it's going to be 400 units, the plane of reference, let's say, for a 4K texture. the 400 units for 4K texture is a 1K per 100 units, so it's a 1K per meter. That is a fairly high textile density. That means that it's a first person template. So I just start blocking this out here. Okay, cool. And I'm gonna do some quick Z modeling. So I'm gonna do BZM, a certain edge loop there, and I'm gonna polygroup, polyloop all of this, Q mesh, polygroup all, something like that. I'm trying to base off my reference. I'm gonna try, actually I can mirror this. So I can come over here, mirror and weld. Whoops. I need to have local on. No mirror and weld. What? Oh, Jesus. Yeah, Z-axis in Unreal is up, and in ZBrush, like any other software, is up and down. It's the Y. Yeah. So there we go. Now we got a fairly decent sort of pillar-ish shape. Whoops. Whoops, a daisy. And now we wanna delete that, delete that. Now I wanna do local. I want to do local, but I want it to be in the Y. No dynamic. Okay. I want to unmask these. No perspective. Increase tolerance. And there we go. And now I want to have some stony shapes there. Actually, this makes no sense. Yeah, this makes way more sense. And this is supposed to be a blocky stone, so. Again, I know this is not fitting the rest of the environment properly. That doesn't really concern me right now. So one of the other things I could do is I could make this modular as well. So I could make just a going around shape with all those stones, etc. Or I could make a tileable texture for all those stones, maybe a couple of tileable textures, and then just bring that all in. But if I want to make the tileable textures, let's say, I want to make them as a separate asset, and I'm going to make them on ZBrush Live, so I'm not going to do it here. Okay, I want to do that in ZBrush Live. So, duplicate, and I'm going to go and delete all of that. Delete, close alls, delete, single edge. There we go. So this is a separate piece than this. And I'm gonna do the same thing here. Delete hidden, close holes, and delete those edges. Okay, 2 separate meshes. And then this is gonna be modular. It's gonna, you know, fit nicely. And what I'm gonna do is actually do a little bit of a bevel here. Actually, no, I'm gonna insert. Let me delete single poly here. Gonna bevel this like so. And one of the things I'm gonna do is I'm gonna rotate just my pivot like 45 degrees. And now I'm gonna use the new dynamic local symmetry, and I'm gonna mirror this and weld on the Z-axis. And there we go. Boom! There's some magic for you. And now this corner over there. Now this is what's happening. And this seems alright. There we go. This should be a little wider. And maybe taller. And is it close holes? Yeah, okay. Whoops. Crease. And there we go. And now we have all of those things ready to be sculpted, right? And now this could be closed. Now this I can close the holes because I'm gonna Dynamesh it anyway, and I'm gonna show you guys on ZBrush Live how to come from Dynameshing to a clean topology and just stay on a clean topology forever until you do your game ready model. There's multiple ways in terms of like hand retopology and all that. That I'm gonna leave for the stones, just an assortment of stones that we're gonna do on the next ZBrush Live. And let me just close holes in this case and then crease. And right now this is looking horrible, but you have to have faith. Let's put it at 7. There we go. Now we're gonna scale this up. There we go. And now what we can do is to preview this properly. We can actually array mesh that entire thing, or we can make another base. In this case I'll probably make another one, so I'm gonna split unmasked and I'm gonna make another one, and this is gonna be the block out of this area right there. I'm gonna taper this a little bit. Gotta love it. The taper and the deformers are just a lifesaver in this case. I want something that's like this, kind of blocky, but still. And now I want something that's like this. Oh, that's too much, probably. Too much of a taper. Actually, not that much. Yeah, something like that. And this could be even bigger. There we go. And this could be sculpted on. And if you want to preview how this could look like on the top, we can do the array mesh. But in this case, array mesh could be reset and mirror in the y-axis. And lock position. Let me try this again. Yeah, this isn't doing it. Let me check the pivot. So to do that, transpose, press Y, and there's your pivot. And this should be, you want to reset this pivot. And let's then reset, no, not reset. I mean, let's just do this and mirror in the Y. Actually, lock position, reset, mirror in the Y. Now the pivot is in the center. Huh, that's strange. Doesn't matter, I could just offset this. To make this modular, you're gonna have to sculpt all sides of it, right? Keep in mind that I want to keep this modular. So let's do a little scale here and make this like 2, 2, and 2. No, let's keep it like that. Right. Now I can actually start sculpting this, and so I'm gonna apply subdivisions. Not a lot of subdivisions, so I might just add a couple. I'm gonna start breaking this up. Actually, before all of those, a couple of issues here with this. Increase PG. There we go. More divisions. Apply. And this is fair enough for us to start sculpting. And I could use it with the trim sheets here. Use something with a trim sheet there. Yeah, this is basically the gist of it. This is sort of what I did for the Diablo scene, but I want to keep this more stylized, so... okay. I want to make this probably... keep this... I always go over with a trim dynamic first, otherwise it looks kind of fake. See that? It's kind of fake. Yeah, see that? So I might as well just go over with a trim dynamic. And there we go. If you want to do like some cracks there, again keeping in mind this is just a block out. There it is, just a cool sketch. So cool little sketch of that. And this could have, again, this would be ideal to have this like with a displacement map projected and have UVs on this as well. And that we could do actually coming in from Maya with a fairly blocked out scene model, sorry, with the UVs already laid out, and we create like the tileable textures. And let me see. Now in this case here, this doesn't really work for us, and I don't want to use dynamic. I want to use mallet, fast brush. I want to do stuff like this. And the same thing goes here. And one of the things I might do next is a blockier sort of rock formation. There we go. Again, just cleaning this up a little bit and starting to get that sort of edginess and wobbliness of the polygons off. Well, it's still there because it's still Dynamesh, but what I mean is that you guys know what I mean. It's like trying to clean it up, make it more simple and faceted. Turn off dynamic. And now I might do move infinite depth here. I want this to be less. I want this to be less cubic. I want to look like it's like some sort of like crystal. There we go. Sort of like a crystal-esque kind of shape. Works a little less. Doesn't work as well though. But I mean, it's not going to be the main like clipping thing. It's just going to be the base, and then we're going to have the other rock. In this case, I want to split this, and I want this other rock to be a cubic rock, like we saw in the concept. And we want this rock to be not a lot bigger than the human mesh there. We want this to be sort of like that. Yes. I'm gonna keep it low poly as long as we can. And I'm gonna make a big one here. And this is gonna be, again, this is a cliff mesh, so that means it's gonna be bigger than the textile density. Definitely gonna be bigger. But I want to use a detail map on top of this, so that's where we are gonna do like detail maps, like tileable textures and all of that. Gonna duplicate this over, maybe rotate it around like that. Let's do auto groups and select, whoops, select that one, not that one, that one. And maybe move this like that a little bit. Cool. And now this one or that one. Can duplicate this one over here. I can make, if I can make it make one side look nice in terms of the shape there. Let me look at my, in terms of the shape, if I can make it look nice there, it doesn't need to, you know, because I can mirror it and then just move on the other side and sculpt it a little differently. And that's probably what I'm gonna do. This could be a little different. Move this out a little bit and off to the side a tad. And this is all gonna be rock sculpted, so do not worry about the blockiness. If it kind of looks like a sci-fi shape, especially if you're familiar with Halo, that's exactly what it should look like. This should be on the other side, just to break things up a little bit. Maybe on the corner there. And now down a little bit. Let me pick this section here. Okay, a little better. And I could actually move this and rotate this around. Maybe scale it down a little bit. No, that was too much. Okay. This should suffice in terms of like a fair base for our block out. And I could still come over here and duplicate this, scale this down, rotate them a little bit, rotate them a little bit, just to break up that shape a little bit. Maybe taper this off, like so. You get something like that. And maybe some real cool cool thing is when you do the gizmo thing, it changes your polygroup, so now it's a different mesh entirely. And I could go over and do maybe this. No, that was too much. Just a little bit of breakup there is enough. And maybe we could deform this. Bring this in. Run it by an auto groups. And we can push this mesh out. I got a little bit of a platform there. Lower this. Maybe bring it to the other side, 180-degree rotation, and just run with that. And there we go. Actually, let me try something a little different. All right. So I want to break this up. It can't look like it's obvious that it's a cube. You know what I mean? So there we go. So what I usually do, very low poly, just blocking things out. And this is to create a modular kind of aspect to the rock. And one thing I do is now I create the array mesh to see how it interlocks with each other. So I can delete this one. And I'm gonna check the scale. I don't want any changes to the scale. I don't want any weird changes. All I want is a little bit of an offset. Oh shit. And a little bit of a rotation, but not that much, maybe 180. And mirror in the Y. No mirror in the X. No mirror in the Y. And 360. Actually 300. Rotation. Well, let's push it to there. All I want is a fair understanding of where these meshes sort of interlock with each other. Now append a new, and let's see, let's go a little crazy. And that's what I'm looking at. Like, does the silhouette look? I mean, we can still give it some work here and there, but it gives us that faceted look, that staircase kind of effect. Even if you interlock it with multiple, you know, with multiple layers of those rocks. But yeah. Cool. So I gotta run. This is really cool. So basically did a very block out sketch on that pillar. We did the block out on our environment here, and we are set to go. We're gonna start modeling now. Next week I'll be streaming on ZBrush Live. If you guys want to go over there and check it out, it's going to be on the same schedule, 3 p.m. London, Portugal, Lisbon time. So check with the ZBrush Live calendar. I can type it in here if you want. Let me go over. Let me go over here, ZBrush Live. Give me a sec, guys. Yeah, there we go. So on ZBrush Live, if you go to calendar and you click on the one that you want, I'm gonna post that here on the chat. It's gonna be 7 a.m. in LA, and it's 3 p.m. in Portugal / London / that whole time zone, basically. So I'm gonna put it on chat right now. If you guys want to check that out next week, be sure to check that out. Next week, we're gonna focus again on the modeling side of things, and we're gonna do maybe a tile level texture, possibly. Yeah, Cool. Right, so I took a screenshot. I'm gonna post it on the PureF board, and we're gonna start next week with the whole idea of the blockout already sort of assembled. And that's it, guys. I hope you enjoyed spending a few hours here with me. I still have available on Saturday. And I hope you guys have a nice weekend. And I'll see you guys next week on ZBrush Live. Stay tuned. Bye.